And we continue on with the Real Estate Radio Show featuring Chris Lofthus of the Chris Lofthus Group. And Chris, I want to go back, I guess about 15 minutes ago when we first started the show. Just remind our listeners, we keep talking about the availability out there of inventory and the market overview. If this is the first time you've listened to the show for a couple of weeks or your first time, you have said now is the time to get your house on the market.
Oh, there's no question about it. And Kurt will actually, he'll repeat the same thing. We have a pool of buyers out there and they're just sitting there. And it's not just me. And we're talking about the real estate community in general. We have meetings, we discuss these types of things. And you have all these buyers sitting here and we have inventory levels almost under 2,000 now in Ada County, which is just absolutely unheard of. And if you're thinking about it at all, if you're thinking about, possibly listing your house, just give us a call. We'll chat about it and we'll give you kind of an overview on the market and truly show you where we're at 2,000 now when the market was just, when people said when the market was horrible, we had 5,700 homes in Ada County. Now we have 2,000. So it's a fantastic time.
Chris, what do your customers say about, hey, here's why I like working with Chris Lofthus and the Chris Lofthus Group? What do you hear after the deal's done?
Well, that's the thing is because we walk it from the beginning, from the second we meet them, whether it's a listing or buying, we walk them through and we surround ourselves with talent. Like I say over and over again, I feel like I'm repeating myself, but people love talent. When you have talent and you have people, positive vendors from my buyer's agents, from like my assistant Annette, all those people that are involved, Kurt Holtan, Prospect Mortgage, April Ashby, Pioneer Title, you have all these people tied in together and everyone does their own specific job and they're excellent at it, you're going to have a great ending.
Chris, what's the best way for folks to get a hold of you?
You can call me on my direct cell phone, which I have no problem with. We always discuss this.
We always say don't call right now during the show. But what's your direct cell number?
514-5003, 514-5003. I don't have a lot of people say sometimes that, hey, God, you have this big group and you can't get a hold of Chris or you're not going to be able to talk to him personally. And that's the furthest from the truth. Call my cell phone. If I'm in a meeting, leave a message and I'll definitely call you back. But if you want information from me direct and that, some of our buyers agents, listing specialists, just give us a call.
Yeah, and folks, I can vouch for that. We text back and forth 11 at night, halfway across the country, wherever you can get a hold of this guy. Kurt, in terms of what you do with Prospect Mortgage, and Kurt Holtan, if you're just joining us from Prospect Mortgage, yourloanontime.com. Share with our listeners one more time, because that jumped out at me about the 21 days, because I've had my friends say, well, we don't know when we're going to find out on our loan. It could be a couple of months. Share again that, in essence, you told me that's your guarantee, right?
Yeah, and with that, though, goes along some nuances, one of them being the buyers nowadays have to be prepared to provide us with the documentation needed to make these decisions. One thing that we perform at Prospect Mortgage on a high level is local fulfillment. And local fulfillment, what that means to a buyer is all phases of your loan will be handled directly out of our office. We have an office full of professionals there, from the processing to underwriting to the doc drawer to the funder. So your whole loan is processed, underwritten, docs drawn, and the funding wire goes to the title company directly from our office. So if something comes up, we can walk right back to those gals and talk to them, which makes a big deal in this industry this day. Chris had touched on it earlier. When you're dealing with some of the bigger institutions out there, your loan may be underwritten in Minnesota or Florida. Well, do they know what's going on in Boise, Idaho? I doubt it.
Right.
So that's a key component to our success here at Prospect Mortgage, is being able to turn times quickly. Don't give us your pay stubs on the 20th day and expect to close the very next day, though.
Right,
so,
of course.
You talk about what we can expect in getting a home loan, and we say these days and these times. Are there some unexpected things? I know they always come up, but you talk about, hey, you might want to be aware of this, or let me know about this particular piece. What do you tell people about that, Kurt?
Well, when in this day and age, when people call me and ask for a rate, I'd let them know that they need to provide us with the information, all the information possible to make that decision. When we pull the credit report, obviously we're going to see any derogatory information there. They need to be prepared to probably address some issues if they've had them in the past. as far as tax returns, let us know if you own a small company or something on there, not just a straightforward Schedule C or a 1040 tax return. So a lot of times these days, the people just need to know they need to be prepared to bring us in. And Chris and yourself have touched on it. It's exciting times in our industry. I mean, we have historically low rates, which we thought we had 5 years ago at 5%. Now we're touching in the 3s and 4s. Historically low rates, inventory levels going down, not only here but nationwide. So buyers that are on the fence and sellers need to be aware that most homes that we see on a sell side, and Chris can attest to this, multiple offers. So it's not like just one house up for sale and one person made an offer. They're getting multiple offers on these properties, which is really exciting knowing the market's turning like that. So,
and Kurt, you mentioned earlier, I want to remind our listeners in terms of getting prepared, you can do it today on a Saturday. You talked about 2, 2, 2, and 2, and shoot, I can even remember that. Remind them exactly what that is as far as getting pre-prepped to give you a call, and hopefully they'll get all that together today and call you.
There's a few different ways someone could call up today to our office, which is that 377-7740 number, and talk to one of the professionals at Prospect. Be prepared to have 2 years tax returns federal with your W-2s, 2 bank statements, the last 60 days, all pages. Got to keep that in mind. Everything needs to be all pages. And 2 pay stubs. That'll give us an accurate picture of your financial standing at the time to qualify for one of these great programs out there right now with these great rates. So they need to be prepared to do that. They can qualify either by calling up and talking to us on the phone. We can take a phone application. They can also go on the internet. My website has a pre-qualification number as well as any other professional in our company. So there's multiple ways that they can pre-qualify and then get us their information so we can make an accurate decision for them.
And that website's yourloanontime.com. I always ask Chris about, I guess, his team. So I'm going to ask you, Kurt, about working with Chris. What do you hear about the Chris Lofthus group? Because I guess in essence you're part of that as well. You guys work together like that.
Yeah, Chris is a go-getter. I will say that. Chris moved here 5 years ago. New to the industry, and he's one of the top professionals in this industry in this area, which is a testimonial to him and how hard he works to really make a buyer's experience as well as seller's experiences top-notch, world-class, and you can see that with what he does. I mean, he takes a high level of professionalism in everything he does, whether it's the advertising, talking to people. You see Chris out and about. He loves real estate, and it's evident in the way he presents himself out there.
Yeah, and we took it to the new level with his radio show now, so the guy's ubiquitous, whatever that word means. We had talked about, I think it's called, is it the 203K, or what is it as far as the rent? If I don't like my kitchen, I shouldn't say I love my kitchen, but if somebody doesn't like my kitchen, that was kind of the nugget that we were saving up for the show today.
Yeah, we at Prospect, we're one of the renovation specialists across the country. We handle a lot of they're considered renovation programs, and there's a few programs within that. So like they say, there's a butt for every seat type of situation. Now every situation is going to be different. We have a 203K, there's a 203K Streamline. We have the home style program, which is the new program Chris had talked to. That wasn't available here in the last couple of years. It's something new to the market, as well as home path renovation. Now each program has its nuances and who can qualify for them and what types of loans they are. But if you're interested in something like that, definitely give us a call, and we can get you in contact with one of our specialists in that arena, because at our company, just not anyone can do those loans. You have to be highly trained and be certified to do those types of loans for folks.
And Chris, where do you see one of those 4 packages coming in? You said you just had a potential client the other day that would be perfect for them.
Oh yeah, the way it came up, Kurt and I were just having a conversation about it, and we were talking about remodeling with Burton, and we were just sitting around with Kurt just chatting about everything and what the options were, and Kurt just brings this up to me, and I'm sitting there going, you know what, I feel like I'm, like Chris, I'm in the top 1% of all realtors in Ada County, and so you look at that, and I'm sitting there going, how did I not know about this product? But it is a newer product. I know that the one that he referred to, the 203K, that obviously I'm not a lender, so if you want to talk to somebody about it, talk to Kurt. But I think I want to touch base more on what Kurt said, is that the biggest thing for listing, buying, whatever, people need to be prepared. So, if you want to buy a house and you think you want to buy a house, get with a professional, get with Kurt at Prospect Mortgage, get qualified and really understand what you're qualified for. It makes our job so much easier to walk in and say, hey, look, this person can afford a $225,000 house. They're a first-time home buyer, 3.5% down, or they qualify for the 203K. Kurt can tell you all the information, so contact him directly. I love it when people come in and they've already gone to a lender like Kurt, and they bring the paperwork in. I call Kurt up and say, hey, the Johnsons just called me. We're good to go here. And Kurt says, yeah, we're all lined in. They have me all their information. We're good to go.
Yeah, it's unbelievable what he can do. It's Kurt Holtan of Prospect Mortgage, yourloanontime.com, from IHA financing, FHA, conventional, jumbo, the renovation lending, all down the list, as we said, the tops in the region. And Kurt, what a pleasure to have you on. And like I say, any guy from Montana is my kind of guy. I like all that. The California guy, I don't know about him, but going from there, we really appreciate it. And the bottom line for both of you, the great state of Idaho is your home, and you want to help others make it their home as well.
That's correct. Yeah, I'm a Boise State fan in heart, though.
Are you? Go Broncos.
Go
That's
Broncos.
A good sound.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, Chris, you've done it again. Another great guest, and I see what makes your team so strong with people like Kurt.
Right. Yeah, and that like we said, the whole goal, and when you and I started talking about doing this show 3 years ago, and we finally pulled the trigger on it and said, let's do this thing, is that we have now amassed a great group of people around me, not just my team, not just my agents or Annette, my assistant, or everybody else that we deal with. That we deal with quality people. So, when you ask me, say, for a remodeler, or you ask, like Burton was on last week, or you say, I really need a good lender. If somebody brings Kurt Holtan's name up, Prospect Mortgage, I'm not concerned, because Kurt's going to call me if there's a problem. I'm telling you. I mean, that's just how he operates.
All right, we're going to take a time out. We're going to look at some of the listings that hopefully you'll be able to call Kurt on and get yourself qualified on those, and much, much more. You are listening to the Real Estate Radio Show featuring Chris Lofthus of the Chris Lofthus Group. As always, you can call Chris at 350-6228, 350-6228, or simply send him an email. Contact us at clgeagle.com. That's Chris Lofthus Group, clgeagle.com. We will continue on with the show on this Saturday right after.